and they will activate signaling pathways to produce more winglets and more hedgehogs in the appropriate cells, and this will kind of reinforce that this is a boundary between two parasegments. So there's wingless and frizzled are part of a signaling pathway called the Wnt family pathway, and hedgehog signaling genes include this pathway: hedgehog, patched, and smoothened. Okay, so let me just talk about this briefly and then we'll take a break. Okay, so I told you that positive feedback is important between these segment polarity proteins. So if this is the cell in the posterior part of the segment, and this is the cell in the anterior part of the segment, we can see that they look similar, but they're actually different in terms of their protein expression. Okay, so for example, let's see, where shall I start? I'll start here. So in this cell, wingless is transcribed, and wingless is a secreted protein that can bind to a receptor on its neighboring cell, and its receptor is called frizzled. Okay. Activation of frizzled, so this is the Wnt signaling pathway. So activation of frizzled in the neighboring cell results in transcription of the protein called engrailed and hedgehog. Hedgehog is also a secreted protein, and it can be secreted out of the cell, and then it can bind to its receptor back on its neighbor, and its receptor is called patched. And there's another protein called smoothened, which associates with patched. So if you have this complex bound all together, you activate a signaling pathway that activates a transcription factor, abbreviated CI, which then goes into the nucleus and can enforce more transcription of wingless. So you get the positive feedback. You have wingless turning on hedgehog expression, hedgehog being activated and then turning on more wingless expression, and you get this positive feedback loop. And this helps to define that the space between these two cells separates two different segments in the body plan. Okay, so we'll stare at this for a little bit. Let's take a break, and then I'll go forward. Okay.
Can we go back to the one above the one more? Okay, so what did you say about the white and the brown?
Oh, so the brown just shows you which cell this gene is expressed in.
Oh, and that one's just not.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, for the segment polarity.
I don't understand.
Mayonnaise, it's covered in salt. Oh, this is different. No. It's not salt. Try the salt sand. Feels like it, because it's rubbing my face.
So is this supposed to be one segment, or is this supposed to be part of the parasegment? This is where the parasegment, okay, begins?
It's basically between one parasegment.
Okay, so it's kind of like, oh, so it's in one segment, so it's like at the posterior end of the segment. And so, but it's the beginning of the parasegment.
I hate these This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'm surprised it didn't come up sooner.
So that's-
If I was just like, what happened? Can you be more specific?
I was totally feeling it.
Oh, I do have your number.
I didn't see it. I thought this had to do with all the different pickups here.
Why did you guys study the one by the gym?
Because there were like 5.
There's one in the.
Did you in the day class?
Yeah, and then there's the shed, which is back behind the daycare in your daycare.
I don't know about that. It just says,
Well,
yeah.
there's new pickup points around campus now, starting yesterday.
No, it's supposed to showcase in the stuff.
So,
Conversation was.
I don't know, links,
Usually
and
comes
then
in
Americas.
the gym.
That's by the gym, and then that's by the daycare.
Smile and like ruining the dogs.
And this one's the gym. No, wait. No, this one is on the.
I don't know.
What? Yeah.
Well, no,
You didn't get it?
just, I can't remember what the street's name, so like, I forget what the name
Is it the gym one?
Yeah, it's okay.
I thought Americas was near the gym.
I'll be on campus for.
Oh, why would I look up here?
Yeah, I haven't been on it yet.
Evolution Valley, that's my favorite.
I'm so mad that they moved.
I did?
Stop.
Okay.
I
Because
did.
I thought it was
Well, I mean, it's not here, but I did do it.
like to go break that.
Yeah, they changed where the stop was.
I mean, just for my street.
No, I thought it was 2 to 5.
No, wait, no,
There was one on yeah, over the holiday.
Yeah, mirror pass where the first one.
The village.
Oh, wait. That's alright.
That's fine.
Hold on, everyone, you need to.
Okay, so let's get started again. So, okay, so the segment polarity proteins encode for genes that are activating specific signaling pathways in their neighbors. So this is an example of cell-to-cell communication during development. It's very basic at this stage. We're going to be talking more about Wnt signaling and hedgehog signaling in vertebrates in a couple of weeks. And so you should become familiar with these terms. Okay, so you should make a table. Like if I say wingless, you should know it's Wnt. Okay, that it's a member of the Wnt signaling pathway. If I say hedgehog, you know that that's the ligand that binds to patch. And I just want to point out these diagrams are from the Gilbert text, but you have also diagrams in the Wolfert text that show you how these signaling pathways are activated. Okay, so if we again look at how the parallel genes are expressed and how the segment polarity genes that come after it are expressed, we can start to see how all these genes come together to form a defined segment. Okay, so this is the embryo, and here they have a blown up version showing you where the different segments are and the corresponding parasegments. Okay, in the green, so in the rectangle, I tried to show you where the parasegment is, and in the black arrows are showing you where the segments are defined. So this is what it means when they